Welcome to Valley's Gold, a show where we explore the people and places who feed and clothe us. On this episode, we examine the topic of food safety. From experts in the field to what you can do at home, we'll see firsthand what's being done on this important issue. Please join me, Ryan Jacobsen, on this adventure.
Valley's Gold is produced through a partnership between the Fresno County Farm Bureau and Valley PBS. Production funding for Valley's Gold is provided by
the Myers Water Bank and Wildlife Project, an educational outreach program working to teach students about water and wildlife issues in California. Field trips are free for all schools, and each trip's curriculum is based on learning about California water resources, valley agriculture, and native wildlife.
Everyone enjoys getting together to laugh, to talk, and mostly to eat. It sounds so simple, but the reality is that it takes a lot of hard work to feed us. The next time you sit down to eat, remember to thank our farmers, Garge Italian Incorporated since 1949 at 800-696-6108.
Heroes come in all shapes and sizes. At Brandt, our heroes are the men and women in the field, the folks who work hard to put food on our table. Join us in celebrating the Valley's real heroes. Brandt, professional agriculture.
We're beginning our show in Kingsburg to learn about the basics of food safety. Our guests are Jeremiah Szabo and Thomas Jones of Safe Food Alliance.
Well, I'm really excited to learn about this brand new facility you guys have here, but before I jump to that, Jeremiah, tell me about the Safe Food Alliance. What is it?
So Safe Food Alliance is a food safety service organization. Part of our mission is to provide solutions that lead to safe food worldwide. Part of the way we do that is working with growers, packers, food manufacturers, food processors here in the state of California.
Food safety has been around a long time, and so have you guys. Tell me about your history.
Our organization's actually been around since 1908. It was founded in San Francisco, of all places. But since, we've evolved a lot along the years.
Got it. And what is your position and background to get to this position?
Yeah, so my position here with Safe Food Alliance is Vice President of Professional Services. Part of my role really includes overseeing our training and consultation departments. Part of my background, I've been in the food industry for a little bit more than 14 years now in the areas of quality assurance, food safety, laboratory management, as well as production management within food processing and manufacturing facilities.
Got it. And Tom, what about yourself?
Well, my name's Thomas Jones, and I'm the Senior Director of Analytical Services here at Safe Food Alliance. And I have been in the industry close to 30 years, working initially as a microbiologist and chemist in the laboratory, and eventually moving up to the Director of our lab services.
Safe Food Alliance provides laboratory services to verify food quality and safety.
California farmers and ranchers have worried about food safety since the beginning of time, but now it really is kind of front and center. Explain to me why.
Well, I think one of the signature events that happened in recent years was the passage of the Food Safety Modernization Act. This federal law passed into effect in 2011 was the first major overhaul of our food safety laws in over a century. And as you know from your show and from your background, food processing, food growth, growing our foods, farming, everything has changed tremendously in that century.
Exactly. And Jeremiah, you talked about the services that this organization provides, but talk about that direct working with farmers and ranchers. What do you do for them, and how are you assisting them in compliance?
We have developed lead instructors, been qualified to be able to deliver that training to those farm operators so that they can then take that training and meet their requirements under the FSMA produce safety rule.
Tom, this facility, what exactly is going on here in Kingsburg?
This facility is our flagship laboratory. It's about 20,000 square feet.
Wow.
And we're doing testing for microbiological contamination, for pesticides, for any chemical issues that might impact the safety of the food. We also do food safety training in this facility, commodity inspections, which is a part of our parent company, DFA of California, We even do a research on better ways to kill insects and fumigation. We even grow our own insects here.
Really? That's fascinating. And I know that's something that you guys are very much on top on. We're trying to prevent that, but when they do occur, really a lot of this goes back to trace back and a lot of the other things that you guys are doing to make sure that we can find out what's going on. Explain that.
Absolutely. Contamination that can cause foodborne illness can really occur almost anywhere from the farm to the table. On the farm side, as Jeremiah was discussing with produce safety, we're very concerned about things such as possible animal contamination, both wildlife and domestic animal, improper use of soil amendments such as fertilizers, the safety of the water used for irrigation or sprays, as well as worker practices. Also, we have to practice good safe handling of the food ourselves, proper hygiene, hand washing, preventing cross-contamination from raw versus cooked foods.
Tom, those are really some great points. That's really my reason for wanting to do this episode, is because food safety, there's a lot of areas of susceptibility, but amazingly, California agriculture has very few instances of issues.
Absolutely, Ryan, and that's our whole reason for existing. We want to be able to keep that food supply safe, from the grower level through retail and shipping and on to the consumer. One of my great pleasures is to be able to go into a grocery store and see folks shopping for their families and know that that food is safe.
Yeah, ultimately, California farmers and ranchers depend upon that confidence that those consumers have. And I think that's most importantly the takeaway today, is that you're helping to instill that confidence to those consumers.
Absolutely. We have to feed the world.
Jeremiah, when it comes to learning more about your organization, where can we go?
Yeah, so viewers can check out our website at safefoodalliance.com. They can also visit governmental and regulator websites as well, like fda.gov, USDA as well. So
yeah, there's a wealth of information, but again, you guys are here to be that key in between to really help solve so many of those problems that are out there.
for sure, yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for educating me on this really important topic of food safety, because again, it's one of those things that all of us want that safe food supply, and it really takes everybody coming together to make that happen.
Great.
Ryan, thanks for visiting us.
Yeah,
Appreciate
our
it.
Pleasure.
We have found our way to the Central Coast near Arroyo Grande to meet up with Dan Sutton of the Pismo Oceano Vegetable Exchange. Well, thanks for having me out to talk food safety, but first let's start with, tell me about the exchange.
Yes, the Pismo Oceano Vegetable Exchange, also known as POVE, has its origins since the early 1900s.
Oh, wow.
We are owned by farming families, and all of those families are of Japanese descent.
Oh, wow, okay.
In the early 1900s, there were approximately 34 families that specialized in what we call peepholes, or bush peepholes. And this area was known for its pea production, and that's where the cooperative had its origins.
Wow, okay.
With the onset of World War II and all of our growing families being of Japanese descent, many of them, if not all of them, got removed to internment camps. Fortunately, there are still families in the Arroyo Grande area today that when those families were removed from their farms and their homes, several families stepped up, watched over their farms, watched over their belongings, their possessions, and when the war was over and they were able to return back, some of those families had something to return back to. At the end of the war, there were 13 families that came back, began their farming practices again. And at that time, they moved on from the peas. And they began farming in the valleys of our Arroyo Grande Valley here and started, growing celery and broccoli. And one of the things they began to grow was Napa cabbage. And POVE is known throughout the United States and overseas for our Napa cabbage production.
And that's a perfect segue to talk about, we're talking leafy greens today. What makes this region so special for those particular crops?
Yeah, so actually this time of year, with California in full production of leafy greens, we're producing about 85% of the nation's leafy greens.
Wow.
And that includes out of the Salinas, the Santa Maria Valley, which we're located, and down in Oxnard. Our very temperate climate here, we don't have very big temperature swings. We have wonderful microclimates that allow these leafy greens to thrive in this area.
And there's a very specific reason I sought you out, Dan, and it's because you have a very special role with the Leafy Greens Marketing Agreement. What is that, and what is your position within it?
Yeah, so currently I serve as the Vice Chairman of the California Leafy Greens Marketing Agreement, also known as the LGMA. The LGMA is a food safety program that was started in the aftermath of the 2006 spinach outbreak.
Okay.
It was created by leaders of our leafy greens industry that came together and said, we can fix this. And so they came together, developed best practices with food safety in the forefront, used sound-based science to back up those practices, and the LGMA has now been in existence for 11 years, and it's the most science-based and recognized program when it comes to food safety practices.
But you guys really took the innovative approach as coming together as an industry.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you talk about that. I mean, the LGMA set several precedences, and the first was it's really a true example of the private-public partnership. We are audited and monitored by state auditors, and it's those two elements working collectively that make this program work. The other thing is that when it comes to an issue like food safety, it doesn't matter what company you work for, where you are location-wise. We come together as a food safety community to help each other. And it's not a competitive edge. We want the products we grow to get to our families, our consumers, in a safe practice or the safe way it can.
We have harvest out in this romaine field. Explain the food safety practices that these employees are going through to make sure they're taking the best steps possible.
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing when it comes to the employees, I mean, we have scientific bases for our water analysis and things like that, but one thing you can't put a scientific number to is employee behavior. So our harvest employees go through continual training throughout the year. One of those biggest elements that they're trained on is personal hygiene. Simple things like when to wash their hands, how to wash their hands, the types of clothes they need to wear, how they keep their harvesting knives cleaned and sanitized.
Ultimately, the trainings, the documentation, the audits, it all comes down to we need the confidence of the consumer as an industry.
Absolutely, and as I mentioned before, the products we grow out here on the ranch are fed. My family eats that. And when it comes to food safety, I mean, I want those products to be safe for my children, but there are millions of families throughout our country eating the same products that my children do. And there's no difference when it comes that I want products safe for my children to be safe for the families that eat our products as well. It comes down to producing the safest food possible for our consumers.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for talking about this very important subject here on the farm.
You're welcome, and glad to have you out. Thank you.
Thanks. Grocers play an integral role in food. To explain how, we've been joined by Chris Vasconcelos of Save Mart. I am here to learn about the grocery business, something I'm really not familiar with, but I know I'm in the right place. I'm at Save Mart. Tell me about this wonderful company.
This company here has been in the Central Valley since 1952.
Oh, wow.
We have a whole host of stores that we have across California, which includes Food Max and Lucky Stores as well.
Oh, wow. And you talk about that 1952, that's a long history.
Yeah, we've been entrenched into the valley, predominantly in the produce world, since its inception, since 1952.
And it's a family-owned business.
It's a family-owned business. In fact, we're the largest family-owned grocer in California.
Well, that's amazing. Now, tell me about your background. How did you come to work with Save Mart?
Actually, I've been in retail for many years. I started out in the produce departments as a clerk and worked my way up.
And what is your title with them today?
Well, today I am the VP of Local Merch, which we focus on local items, local providers throughout the Valley, and then also in the Bay Area, and then all the way up into Nevada as well.
And that's where really we are synonymous as far as we talk about agriculture and the grocery business. We go hand in hand. Obviously, you guys are the retailer for where our stuff's ending up. So talk more about this. You know, we're in the middle of a gorgeous display here in Ceres, one of your stores, and just talk about what we have around us here.
We're really excited of the fact that we carry a wide variety of local items, fruits and vegetables. We connect directly with our farmers, our growers, and we make sure that we reflect that in our stores every day.
Yeah, and you talk about variety. I mean, this just has, we have the colors and everything else that really show the bounty of both Central Valley and California agriculture all around us here.
That's correct. We work very hard at trying to source as many of those products as possible, and we make sure that it reflects into our stores, that it's fresh, it's on season, and then, like I say again, it reflects the particular growing areas that really thrive within the Central Valley.
And these are very long-term partnerships you have with these farmers and ranchers to supply these goods.
That's correct. In fact, since 1952, we have created a lot of great relationships. We actually go out to the fields with our farmers. We spend a lot of time with them. We're always trying to enhance what we have at store level, have the best quality produce.
Yeah, exactly. And we talk about that partnership. The reason I'm here today is to really emphasize food safety. Food safety has become not just a buzzword on the agricultural side, but obviously the consumers paying more attention to that food safety. You, as the retailer, play a very major role in that.
It actually begins at the farm. How they handle the product is very important. After the harvest, we have to make sure that it gets into the cold chain immediately. It goes to our distribution centers where actually we pull out that product, reevaluate it, and make sure it's the fresh and wholesome product that we want to see go to our stores. Then when it goes to the store at store level, all our professionals, they look at the product again. So by the time the customer gets that product, it is the freshest that it can be.
And when it comes to those customers as well as your workforce, they're a part of the community that you guys really serve and you guys really give back. Talk about that.
It's very important to the Save Mart companies to give back to the communities in which we serve. In fact, we want to donate back $2.5 million back into the communities, and this could be through sporting events, adopt-a-school programs, and then we also have our charities such as Save Mart Cares.
And for our viewers that want to learn more, where can they go, Chris?
Well, I will tell you, the first thing I would like them to do is come visit us and see how fresh the offerings are. You can't replace that being in person in our Save Mart and Food Max locations. But I will tell you, you can access it at SaveMart.com, and you can get the latest and greatest for what's going on with Save Mart companies.
Well, fantastic, Chris. This has been a fabulous visit to see the very important retail side when it comes to agriculture, because again, it comes to, this is what the consumer sees in most cases. They don't get to see the farm, and you guys really are that face to what's so incredibly important to the Central Valley and California.
And thank you, Ryan, for having us.
Food safety doesn't stop once you leave the grocery store. To help us in our own kitchens, we've been joined by Elizabeth Lopez of the CalFresh Nutrition Program.
Well, I'm excited to learn about this new program that I don't know really much about. Tell me about the UC CalFresh Nutrition Program.
So I'm with the UC CalFresh Nutrition Education Program, also known as UC CalFresh for short, and we specifically focus on working with families that are eligible for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. We teach them how to stretch those food dollars that they receive, and we also teach them about physical activity.
Oh, wow. So what kind of resources do you have available?
So for families, we offer resources in the form of nutrition classes. So we work with qualifying schools and community sites to offer those nutrition classes. And if there's any parents or families that are interested in attending any of those classes, they can visit our social media sites and follow us there and find out where we're teaching those next classes.
So what's your background and how did you get this position?
So my background is actually in public health, and I started with UC CalFresh back in 2016. And immediately as I started, I enjoyed what the program was doing. I loved that how much they were reaching out to the community, and I loved the work that they were doing. So since then, I've been with them.
It's fantastic. Well, Today we're talking about consumer food safety, and this is for our viewers at home to learn just a lot more about what they can do for safe food preparation tips at home. So where do we start?
So, well, at the grocery store, you want to make sure that you are separating your fruits and your vegetables from your meats, your poultry, your seafood, and your eggs.
I know once, at the grocery store, you obviously, those more, sensitive items to refrigeration, probably grab those more towards the end of the shopping trip. But on the travels home, there's also some important things you should be doing.
Yes, exactly. When you're taking the food home, for those perishable food items, you want to make sure to package those in insulated cooler bags. So I actually have one here that I brought today so the viewers can see. It's this little red one here, and it is an insulated bag.
And by insulated, it just has, it helps to maintain that close to that temperature on the way home.
So from the refrigerator unit at the grocery store to your refrigerator at home, it should only be a 2-hour span. During the summertime, that time does decrease to 1 hour.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then, so that's a real key, making sure that you really try to minimize that time that it's away from that refrigeration.
Exactly. So if you need to, plan your trips to the grocery store so that you only need to make that one stop so you can get the food home as soon as possible.
Another key ingredient is once you get home, making sure that the refrigeration is working properly, making sure it's maintaining that temperature.
Best thing to do is buy your refrigerator thermometers, and better yet, buy two, one for your refrigerator and one for your freezer. That way you know that food is kept at the correct temperature.
Oh, here's some great tips there. Now when it comes to the preparation time, cleanliness is a big thing that obviously we all need to be cautious of at home. Tell me about some of those steps.
So first of all, you want to make sure to wash your hands, and by that we mean washing your hands with warm water and soap and washing them for 20 seconds. And that's equivalent to singing the Happy Birthday song twice or the ABC song.
And I know the next step we all know, but it's a good reminder nevertheless, it's the keeping the fruits and veggies separated from all the proteins, making sure that you really don't have that ability to really contaminate those fresh products.
Exactly. So you want to make sure you first off wash all your fruits and vegetables. Wash them under cold water. There is no need to use any type of detergent or soap on them. Water is simply fine. Once they're washed, of course, you want to make sure your preparation areas are nice and clean. Any surfaces that you're going to be working on, any utensils, and of course having various cutting boards, one for your fruits and vegetables and another one for your meat.
And I know something else that's really important today is that there's a lot of different products on the market for particularly fruits and vegetables that are already bagged. And you really need to make sure you look at that note whether or not it needs to be washed or not.
Exactly. So some of the bags will say pre-washed, which meaning that they are safe to use as is. And there's other bags where you will need to wash them before using.
So we're talking both fresh fruits and veggies as well as those cooked meats. Let's jump to those cooked meats. There's some really special temperatures we're watching on those. What are those?
So for those temperatures for your meats, you want to make sure that for your beef and your pork, your lamb, they reach an internal temperature of 145.
Okay.
For your ground meats, that would be 160. And then for poultry, whether it be whole or ground, that's 165.
And one of the other things in the kitchen that I think is so important, leftovers.
So with leftovers, as soon as something's prepared, it should go in the fridge within the 2 hours. During the summertime, that comes down to 1 hour. You want to make sure to store those leftovers in clean, sealed containers and then be put in the fridge. If you can't remember how long your food's been in the refrigerator for, the best thing to do is when in doubt, just throw it out. You don't want to risk getting sick.
Well, Elizabeth, this has been incredibly insightful. For our viewers at home, where can they go to learn more information?
So a great website for them to visit would be the foodsafety.gov website, where they can get a multitude of resources. There's also an Ask the Experts tab. There's also a great app offered by the USDA called the Food Keeper app. It'll send them reminders if they add stuff onto the calendar notes.
Wow. Thank you so much for all this incredibly useful information that's so important to helping to keep our viewers healthy at home.
Thank you, Ryan.
Appreciate it. And to all of you, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Join me again for more Valley's Gold.
Valley's Gold is produced through a partnership between the Fresno County Farm Bureau and Valley PBS. Production funding for Valley's Gold is provided by
the Myers Water Bank and Wildlife Project, an educational outreach program working to teach students about water and wildlife issues in California. Field trips are free for all schools, and each trip's curriculum is based on learning about California water resources, valley agriculture, and native wildlife.
Everyone enjoys getting together to laugh, to talk, and mostly to eat. It sounds so simple, but the reality is that it takes a lot of hard work to feed us. The next time you sit down to eat, remember to thank our farmers, Garge Italian Incorporated since 1949 at 800-696-6108.
Heroes come in all shapes and sizes. At Brant, our heroes are the men and women in the field, the folks who work hard to put food on our table. Join us in celebrating the Valley's real heroes. Brant, professional agriculture.
Valley PBS is committed to teaching children the importance of agriculture. Valley's Gold Education through Agriculture offers lessons for elementary school students. To download free worksheets and activity kits, and to watch child-friendly videos about the crops explored on Valley's Gold, visit valleysgold.org and click on Education.